Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Well, actually, this is not Archery Supplies. This is Archery Mart. This used to belong to my dad, and my aunt used to own the store. It was later sold, and I'm here doing a video about, and what I want to talk about is how you sell products to customers coming in the store and things about your store that you can do to help yourself sell. Now, a lot of it's going to come down to the personal sales technique and how you sell to a customer. Now, each person's technique of selling is different. Now, my technique of selling is very different to my father's, and I'm going to say my father was a much better seller than I am. We had a very different approach. My dad was very much, hi, how can I help you? This is what you need. Thank you very much. You're very, basically they thank him for not selling him garbage, if that makes sort of sense. So dad would say, this is what I would shoot. This is what you need. Don't buy yourself garbage. This is what you need. And people like my dad, I would say, overall. And I'm going to say he was very quick, didn't stuff around with lots of, so you'll see here lots of bows. He'd just say, look, what do you need it for? This is the bow I would shoot. This is what you need. Go and shoot. You'll shoot well with it. And people were pretty happy with that advice. My sales technique is very different. My sales technique is how much do you want to spend? Let's try and fit you out for a product at that price point. So, but what I want to talk about today is how you make a sale, and as far as a customer's approach to when they walk into a store. So the first thing you're going to think about is when a customer walks into an archery store, they're probably not, there's two types of customers to start with. There's a customer who walks into an archery store who doesn't know anything about archery, and they're like, well, this looks like a cool sport, where do I start? That customer accounts for a large percentage of all my sales. There's the customer who comes in who knows exactly what they want, how much it should be, and the product they're looking for. They're experienced, they've been in archery for a number of years. Now that percentage of my sales is probably 30%. Now those customers generally don't need a lot of help. They know exactly what they want, they know how much they're going to pay for it, they're driving past, so they've come to you to get that product. That's an easy sale. What's a harder sale is when the customer doesn't know what they want and you've got to make the sale. And that's what I want to talk about. And I want to take you through this shop about the customers and how the shop's been laid out and how things can be improved and how that relates to your business. So the first thing, when a customer walks into an archery shop, they're kind of overwhelmed by the huge choice of, bows. There's just so many to choose from, and basically it's a bit overwhelming, especially if you're like this is a larger store, heaps of bows, heaps of brands, and literally it's too much for a customer to take in. So the first thing customers basically going to want to know is, how much is it going to cost me to get started? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the compound bows, because we're going to start with compound bows. A lot of customers are not going to know what type of bow they want. They're not going to know whether they want a recurve, a compound. They're not going to know if they want to shoot target or hunting. They just want to shoot a bow. So let's just walk through this, and I'm going to start with compound. Okay, so behind me is a wall of, these are the expensive Pse bows. You've got your Carbonaires, these are your $2,000 bow. It's got a price point up here behind each bow, which is good because a customer doesn't want to go, well, how much is that bow? How much is that bow? How much is that bow? They basically want to go, well, this bow is, I'm just going to grab the bow off the shelf. This bow here is $1,300. And this one's $1,300. Now this is interesting to me. So this is the Carbonaire, normally around $2,000. And the first one I grabbed was the Invoke Light, which is also $1,300. Now, for a customer off the street, it's like, which bow would I buy if I've got a budget of $1,300? Now, he's got a price tag up here which says axle length, speeds on the bows. They're the same speed. The carbon one's a little bit longer. He's got the weight, one's 3.6, one's 3.9, they're the same price. Now, I'm going to say that is confusing for a customer which one to buy. Now, if you're an experienced archer, you're probably going to know which one to buy, or do you? So, and that's the first two bows to look at. Now, I'm going to say with this bow, the Carbon Air is marked down from $2,000, but it's not marked on the tag there anywhere. So the customer doesn't know this is a $2,000 bow marked to $1,300. This is not the regular price of the bow. In fact, this bow is well below cost price. So what did he pay for this bow? Maybe $1,700, maybe $1,800. And it's now $1,300, so it's $500 below what it cost him to buy this bow. So this is a closeout. So the tag actually needs to have closeout, $2,000 regular, last one, $1,300. Now if you see a tag like that and you come up and say, well, this is a regular bow, $1,300, and this is a $2,000 bow, I'm pretty sure I know which way a customer is going to go without even asking the salesperson about the two bows. Now, a lot of this is about making your time as a salesperson easier and quicker, and making it easier for a consumer to go, well, I just bought a $2,000 bow for $1,300. I saved myself $700, and be able to justify it to their partner when they get home. So this is the other carbon bow. This is a $2,000 bow. Now, there's a nice tag up there to say the speed of the bow, the let off, the price, the axle. But what's the selling point of this bow to a customer? When they walk in, they know nothing about bows. So in one of my old stores, I had tags there which said, basically the tags did the selling for me. So customers could walk around the store and work out basically what the selling point of the bow is. Now this is a Carbon Stealth. What is the selling point of the Carbon Stealth? This is one of the lightest bows made. It's also fully adjustable in draw length. It's an easy shooting bow. So customers are going to want to know why they want this. They want this because it's the lightest bow made. It's carbon. It's a nice shooting bow. It's nice and smooth. I mean, in my old store, I used to have a chart to say how easy the bow is to shoot, how fast it was, and I used to give them star ratings out of 5. So, is this a faster bow? Is it a smoother bow? Is it a lighter bow? Is it a heavier bow? So star ratings, so people can make a assessment about what type of bow they're after based on that price point. Now I'm just going to jump around to another. So this is the Pse Target Rack. So you're going to say, well, where's all the other ones? And we'll get to those. But this is the Pse Target Rack, and you've got the Performs here, which is a shoot-through riser. You've got your Supras, and you've got your cheaper target bows below here, the Centrics, which is about $1,000. Once again, he's got nice price tags up here. But once again, what draws this bow, and I'm going to look at the Perform compared to the Focus. What's the selling point of one to the other? Why is this bow $2,100 and the other one is $1,400? Which bow would you buy and why? And why do you want to spend $1,400 on a target bow compared to maybe one of the cheaper bows, which is $500? And I think that sort of stuff is important on tags to make that sale. So what I kind of want to see here is tags which say top-end target bows, shot by world champions, machine risers, top-of-the-line limbs, top-of-the-line machine limb pockets, kind of simpler stuff. Now on the cheaper $1,000 PSE target bows, you've got a machine riser plastic limb pocket. So people can go, well, okay, on the $1,000 one, I'm getting a plastic limb pocket. On the $1,400, I've got a metal limb pocket. I've got more advanced cams. And on the top of the line Perform, I'm getting a shoot-through riser, which takes PSE 4 times as long to make, a lot more material involved, it's stronger. That's the sort of stuff I want to convey to the customer on a tag to make life simple. So I suppose what I'm getting at is the importance of tags to do the selling rather than a salesperson. So, okay, so on this rack here, we've got the PSE drives at the top, we've got the Stingers below here. Now once again, it's got the speeds, 330 feet per second, 316, and we've got the price point difference. Now, for a consumer, what I'm going to say is the Drive and the Stinger are big selling bows because these are affordable. But what a customer is going to want to know is how much is this bow in a kit? How much is it going to cost them to physically walk out of this store? Now, what he's got on the bench here, and I'll zoom down to that, is he's got these 2 kits here. And he basically says, well, this is what the kits include and this is the price for them. which is nice, but I think you need some up on the wall to say, look, this is a kit. And in my ideal world, basically all these bows would be kitted up and a customer could walk out without making the sale. And when I say without making the sale, without having to fit a sight, without having to fit an RRS, without having to fit a peep sight, without having to fit D-loop, without having to fit the quiver, without having to fit the stuff to the bow. Because what you generally find is two guys are walking together, both wanting bows, and you've got one salesperson and each one's going to take an hour to set up. Then you're going to have to learn, you're going to have to teach the person to shoot. And if you've got to set up each bow, it's going to take you a long time. Now, my biggest sale day by myself in a store was $14,000 worth of sales in one day, and that was all walk-in customers, and most of them brought kits. So it's very important for me to have the kits assembled. Now the reason I'm doing it in this store is because my store, Archery Supplies, is more wholesale and more internet driven. So basically a lot of my bows will go out just as a basic bow, so it's a little bit different for me than a retail store that this is. So let's go to the next rack. Okay, so this is another rack. So up the top here we've got some Matthews. We've got some of the new Pse Next bows. Once again, the same sort of price tag, but what I'm not seeing is this is new for 2020. I'm not seeing that anywhere here. This is the latest bow for 2020. What would be great is to have a tag saying new for 2020. These are the latest bows out, where some of the other ones would be pre-existing 2019 stock. Now down below here, there's a whole bunch of stingers as well, and there's also stingers on the other rack. To me, that's a little bit confusing. What I'd like is to have the bows priced by different price points, so customers will start off at the more expensive ones and work their way down. So I'd like the stingers together, and I'd probably want the stingers to be grouped with the different kits. Now the stinger accounts in a normal retail store for probably about 70% of all bow sales. So it's a big selling bow. So you want all your different kits that you're going to have in the stinger, and I'm just going to grab a stinger. So this is a Stinger Max. This is the Pse kit, which is interesting, which I haven't reviewed before. So this is the Pse Stinger Kit. It comes from Pse's factory. It's fitted with the Pse D-loop, their peep sight, their whisker biscuit, their quiver, their sight. Now they also have a drop away kit, which they call the Pro Kit. Now it'd be nice to see that here as well. And if this shop's got its own kits, it should have those there right alongside the Pse kit, so customers can then choose between the Pse kit or the shop's kit. And basically they can say, well, the Pse kit has this, but I still need to buy arrows, I still need to buy a release aid to get myself going with. If I buy the shop kit, how much is that going to cost me to get going, so they can make a comparison and make a choice. You want, for a customer, the choices to be quick. So here we're going to go to the crossbows. Okay, so we're at the crossbows here. Now for this shop here at Archery Mart, when my dad ran it, crossbows were a big seller. This shop has had lots of walk-in customers, and I say has lots of walk-in customers because it's on a main road. When it was established, it's been closed for 3 years, so it doesn't have the walk-in customers yet. But back in his day, Dad used to sell a lot of crossbows in this store. Now, a lot of these, well, this one doesn't have a price tag on it. Now this one here is 330 feet per second. This one's 355. You can see it's a little bit faster. But what I want here with crossbows is I need the cheaper ones. I need the cheaper ones displayed. And I'm not even seeing any of the cheaper crossbows. Now most people, a lot of people will buy expensive crossbows, but a lot of them are going to want the cheaper crossbows. Same with when it comes to buying a compound bow. Most people are going to buy the budget compound bow to get started. It's more of the advanced person or someone whose money's not an object and they don't want to buy beginner stuff. They just want to buy something decent up front. Will buy an expensive crossbow like these. So ideally in this shop, I'd want the cheaper crossbows. I need a bigger display because there's not enough crossbows crossbows displayed here. So that's my bit with the crossbows. Now I'm going to go around to some of the other things, but what's big in shops, and we're going to go to this, is recurve bows. Now in my store, recurves probably account for about 30% of entire sales. And I'm going to then jump to traditional recurves. Now traditional recurves, a lot of that is impulse buys, where a person walks in and goes, that looks beautiful, I want to buy that because I've got some spare money. Not because they need to buy it or because they walked into this shop wanting to buy one. They see it, they fall in love, and they go, I want that, I want to stick it on the wall, I like the look of it. Hunting knives have exactly the same impact. People see it and they go, I want that. Not that I need it, I want this because it looks cool. So we can go and have a look at how this shop set up the recurves and so see how that looks. Okay, so I'm here. This is one of the walls where he's got his recurves displayed. Now this is in the back corner, back of the shop. Now to me, I've walked around the back, you can't see this from the front of the shop, and this is, to me, it's like you've kind of hidden it away at the back. Now it's nice, you've got your price point here, the $4.45, and they're displayed. This one here, there's only one on display. I don't know if he's got one in stock, but see, what I see below is a whole bunch of boxes. Now my dad's view when he ran this shop was, if you've got a product in stock, it needs to be on display. Now in my store, because most of my sales are wholesale and internet, I generally only have one on display and everything else is packed out the back. But this is a walk-in store, so you need everything on display and you need the poundage displayed on the bow. So basically it's quick, it's easy. Ideally you'd like the prices on each of those bows, because recurves are quick and simple. Now up here, these recurves up the top here, these are good selling bows. They're traditional. You can see there's a whole rack there missing. Now they're a high selling bow. You shoot them off the shelf, you shoot them bare bow. You need all the different poundages of those bows. They are very popular, under $200. These are a popular bow. Now my thing is, so I've got this rack here and this looks okay, but it's not a full range of recurves. So we're gonna go around and see the whole range. And you're welcome to make comments below about what you think and whether I'm being too harsh or not. But I kind of wanna see more recurves. I wanna see more of those. I wanna see more of the woods. I wanna see more in this store. Okay, so here we go. Now this wall here, you'll see this whole wall here is basically empty. So what he's done is he's displayed the Discovery riser. This is Samick. This is a traditional hunting recurve, international finning limbs which clip together. This is a nice bow. It comes in the three colors, the black, the green. You can see my reviews on this bow. These are a nice bow. But what I'm not seeing with this, you've got the price of the handle, which is $295, and you've got the price of the limbs, which is $200. Now that makes $495. I'd prefer this bow assembled for $495, so people don't have to do the maths. Like $495 versus the other bows at whatever price. Because I don't think you're going to buy this without the limbs. So I don't need them to be priced separately. Like, you're not going to buy that and not buy limbs. So, and I think the riser should be, so you can see the face here, because I think this is more artistic than seeing the back of the riser. So, but to me there's too much blank wool here. Now down below here, I'm going to zoom down. He's got a whole bunch of bows under here which are unopened. Now they need to be on display. Okay, so let's run to the next wall. Okay, so we've got more recurves, and we've got, you know, your nitro bow here. Now these are cool. This is a cool bow. This people are interested in this bow because it looks different to all the other bows in the shop. And what this bow is in the back corner of the store, so you can't even see it. This looks cool. This is an impulse buy. This is like, there's one of them in the store, it looks cool, I will buy this bow, and it's hidden in the back. Now the other bows we've got listed here, there's no prices on them, we don't know what they are. Now I might know what they are because I own an archery shop, but for customers, for people working in the store, they probably don't know what they are. And are there more of these bows? Because only one of them is displayed, so there's not enough. Now we're going to go to these racks. These are traditional, these are like your beginner target bows here. Now these racks are used in the Pse shop. So if you go to Tucson, Arizona and go to the Pse shop, this style of rack system where they sit into like little in the front stabilizers, this is what they use to display their bows. I'm not a huge fan of this display system. I think it's kind of hard to see how many you've got. Now there's some bows here, right? But to me it's a bit, so there's these three R2s from Toe Point. There's these two here from Jung Sing. There's no price tags on them. There's some wooden ones at the back and a hunting bow at the back. To me it's a strange mix. Now these bows are really popular, the R2s, the hunting bows are really popular, the wood ones are really popular, and these ones are really popular. These are really popular bows, but I'm not getting the full, I prefer the bow to be displayed, and this is just me. I prefer these to be displayed, a whole wall of just all these with all the different poundages on display. That's what I prefer. I think it makes it easier for the salespeople who work here. That, you know, Saturday morning is their busy time in this store. Someone comes in, wants a recurve bow. That's the other problem with these, they kind of fall over unless you do up the stabilizer. They come in, want a recurve bow, 20 pounds, 24 pounds, and you're like, okay, I've got to screw together these limbs, I've got to put the bowstring on, they should be assembled, it's like you hand them the bow. That's my view. Okay, this is the longbows behind here. Now longbows, when I say are big, I don't sell a lot of longbows, okay, but they are popular because it's an impulse buy. It's like, I've always wanted to shoot a longbow, and they're cheap. Now there's some are expensive, but what I see here is I don't see a lot. I don't see prices, I don't see names. It's like, and I think as a customer walking into a store, you're not going to say, well, how much is this Bear Montana? Not that you know it's a Bear Montana. Compared to this one here, which is a Cartel Epic, and this one's left-handed. Compared to this one here, which is right-handed. Back when Dad had this store, all his longbows were displayed, and he had a whole rack of longbows, and they were good sellers. You'd sell a longbow every week. I just don't think with this they're going to kind of sell the way they're displayed. And so let's just take a wander around here. Okay, so here we are. We've got some basic target bows here. These are a budget target bow. He's displayed some stabilizers below. Now these target bows are about 200, they've got a price of 250. Now if you're after a cheap target bow, how much is it going to cost you to set this up for target? I think there should be one setup here for target. Some people can go, oh, well, look, this is what it's, you know, the bow's 250, I need a basic sight, I need a basic rest, I need some basic target arrows. So they kind of know how much it's going to cost them. And so, now this wall here, is sights, hunting sights and stabilizers, and then we've got some darts, and we've got some more darts to the side here. Now people are going to say there needs to be prices on everything. Now I'm going to say, well, sometimes that's hard because prices vary. There are prices on the darts, but there's not many prices on the accessories here. Now, this is a good selling product for me, the Dead Center Hunting Stabilizer, but it kind of gets lost. And maybe it'll sell okay there, but you've got the Pse Stingers up here, but then I'm not seeing all the other stabilizers, all the other hunting stabilizers, the cheaper ones, and so I'm kind of getting a bit lost with this wall. And I think also with this wall, there's too many holes here, so you kind of need to, things need to be moved around to create, at the moment it looks too holeish. It looks like there's too, shop looks empty. And this shop's not empty, it's got plenty of stock. Right, so this here is, this here is the quiver wall. So this is where it's got his quivers. This looks, to me, this looks pretty good. He's got his field quivers up here. He's got a little price tag on them, on some of them. Here, I'm just going to rip down one. This looks pretty good. It's got a price tag just there of $60. It looks nice. I think the wall looks pretty good. To me, quivers take a lot of space and they're generally low margin. So on that quiver, you might be making $15. It takes up a lot of wall space. So you've really got to think about your quivers. In my first shop I had a whole wall of just quivers. And what you got to think about is how much space for how much stock is displayed is that generating for your business. So always be a bit careful with quivers. You need them, but you also need to be careful of so this one he put the price on the back because I was looking for the price. I think you need the price on the front so people don't have to, this is $24. And like I'm cool with this. Like this is just handwritten on $120. I'm okay with that. I think this is easy. There's been stores in the past, I'm going to say stores that sell electronics. So there used to be like a big department store here which used to have flashy displays, expensive displays, and then this cheaper supplier came along and they just basically wrote stuff on by texture and displayed it in the boxes, and they just had them all stacked up, and it was seen to be a cheaper, more new age stores. So they didn't have the expensive displays, and consumers got the sense that basically they weren't paying for these flashy displays. The products were affordable and they weren't being ripped off, and it appealed to the younger generation, and basically that's what took over. The big flashy department stores basically disappeared from selling electronic devices, and yes, they still do, but they don't sell the volumes that these other I would say box stores. They're ones who basically, it looks like it's just they brought in 10 TVs and stuck them on the floor. So always be a bit careful with how you display stuff. It's fine just to write the prices on things as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so now we're in the, okay, so this is his Target Recurve wall. So he's got up here some different limbs. Down here he's got the prices on them, so $220 to $120. He's got some other ones over here. So he's grouped the Samics in one side, some Win and Wins there, and some other cheaper ones there, and he's put some risers in the middle. So I'm just going to scroll down there. Now up here you'll see there's a whole big gap. So I just get a bit lost with the gap. I want to fill in the gap. This wall doesn't look bad. I kind of would like, and I think about stuff, and you should always think about your store and change the displays around. So the way my dad used to display these recurves, he'd have them set up. So it wasn't a matter of basically grabbing this limb and putting it with any bow. Dad would have this limb on a particular bow. So he would have this limb with this bow, and he would make a price of $250. And he would put that limb with this riser and then make a bow of $300. So he basically took the thinking out of the consumer's choice. Now consumers could still say, oh look, I prefer that limb with that riser. But my dad, in the retail sense, took that away. He said, well, if you want a $200 bow, this is your $200 bow, this is your $300 bow. And as you spend more money, the risers are becoming better and the limbs are becoming better. And Dad sold a lot of top-end target bows in the store, like $1,000 target bows, $2,000 target bows. So if he had a $1,000 target bow riser, he'd put a $1,000 target limb on that bow. Now these are just, all I'm saying is these are things to think about when you run a store and whether this is successful for you. I'm going to spin around here. Right, so this is kind of the back of the store. These are the cheap bows here. This bow here is your budget bow. This is your $200 bow. It gets people into the sport. Most people in my store come in and they go, I've got 200 bucks, I need to buy a bow. Or if I'm really unlucky, they've got 100 bucks and need to buy a bow with arrows and a compound bow. And I'll get those every day. This bow sells for about $220. It's not a bad bow. Now there's no tag up there to tell you what brand this is. Well, there's a brand tag up there, but this doesn't tell you the model, it doesn't tell you the price, it doesn't tell you the specs of this bow. It doesn't tell you the draw length, it doesn't tell you the poundage of this bow. Now, I would guess, I'm just guessing, I'm going to guess this store has been open for 6 weeks. Guess, might have been open for 8 weeks. May have been open for 3 months, I don't know. I'm going to guess he hasn't sold any of those bows. Now that bow is a big selling bow. Now down below here, which you can't see, is a kit. This is a basic kit and it comes with a bow, 12 arrows, fully set up from the factory. Now I'm going to guess, so don't, because there's no price tags on that kit. So this bow comes with a bow, sights, stabilizers, release aids, hard case. Hard case is about 100 bucks, right? The bow's about 200, so 300. It comes with accessories. Let's say it's $400. Let's say it's $500. There needs to be a big price tag on this to say ready to walk out, kit, $400, $500, whatever it is. Now, one of the problems is if you're working here on Saturday, and let's say your name is George and you're working here on Saturday, and there's no one who works here on Saturday whose name is George, but it's like, how does George know how much that kit is? Now the kit comes in camo, it comes in black. Also, both of those need to be on display. It's a big selling item, and I think this side of the rack kind of loses it. Kind of loses things. So anyway, that's just my view. I kind of feel a bit lost on this side. And I feel like this red bow here is kind of mixed in with the hunting bows and it needs to be on the target bow rack over there. Okay, so next rack. Okay, this is interesting. Right. Okay, so here what we've got is we've got a Matthews TRX, we've got a couple of elites, then we've got a couple of $200 bows, and we've got another like $200-300 bow, I'm guessing, because there's no prices, there's no tags on any of these bows to say what they are. And this was particularly losing to me because it's like it's just been thrown there and forgotten about because it's in the back of the store. Now, I'm getting lost with this here because you kind of mixed elites, which are around there, the Matthews are over there, and there's nothing down below here. So it feels, to me, it feels lost. So I'd probably want another, like the other racks have got another bow thing coming off here and more racks. Now these bows here, once again, I'm guessing this is a $200 bow, I'm guessing. Now, you don't need one of these bows on display, you need 5 of them on display. Because let's say he's got 5 of them, I think he does in stock. Every one of those bows needs to be on display because this is a big selling item. Now, I don't think he's probably sold any in this store because it's not on display, it's not in your face when you walk into an archery store. The first thing you see when you walk into this shop is the $2,000 bows, the $1,300 bows, and probably a lot of people are going to walk out at that stage. So I'm going to say you've got a time constraint on making the sale, and you definitely need to have an affordable bow in the person's face pretty much straight away, because otherwise they've lost interest. Like if I walked in here and I'm seeing $1,000, do I really want to do archery for $1,000 if I haven't shot a bow before? Because I don't even know if I'm going to like it. I might shoot once and then be finished. Which gets you to the whole shooting range thing on whether you should hire bows, teach people how to shoot, have coaching clinics in here where you say, well, look, I'll hire you a compound bow, I'll teach you to shoot for $50. I'm just throwing ideas out there for you if you own a shop. Right, so this is your accessory wall here. You can see up the top, all blank. That all needs to be filled in. You see lots of blank spots here on the wall. I don't mind with the way he's done the tabs here, they look kind of cool. Some of the scopes I like, I don't mind the veins being displayed, that looks kind of colourful. And once again on the veins, you're going to say, well, how many of these veins do I sell for how much space it's consuming? So we're going to spin around and see some more. So this is an elite, I'm sorry I'm taking you a full park. This is an elite wall. I'm not seeing some prices on these bows. I'm not seeing any prices on those. I'm not seeing prices of kits. I want to see these bows set up. I want to see prices to say why I'm buying this bow. Now this bow, this wall here, this is like kids mini burners. Now there's nothing here which says kids. So if you walk in here, you don't know this is a kid's bow. There's nothing here to say it's a kid's bow. And I think this wall for 4 bows displayed is taking up a whole heap of space. And I think this is premium space. I'd probably prefer to have the bows hung that way. I think we normally fit 6. So you could fit 12 bows here instead of fitting 4. Once again, this wall here, these are like beginner's bows. Just here, there's no prices up here, so no one knows how much they are. They don't know what they're targeted for. Are they targeted for beginners? And once again, I don't think we've sold any. Down below here, we see the beginner like fiberglass bows, no prices. Down below, we see the kits. These are like just cheap things. These should be walking out the door. In fact, in this store, when my dad owned it, and it was later owned by James, the cheap fiberglass stuff, the fiberglass bows, which cost $60, literally used to walk out of this store. And I don't mean walk out, I mean people used to pay for them. Like $60 bows, like $100 to try archery, to shoot in your backyard. That stuff sells all the time. Right, I'm going to go to the front door. So this is what you see when you walk in. You see a target over the side here for $3.90. You see a turkey, a deer, a hard case here. Now the hard case doesn't have a price on it, which is a bit weird. Now if hard cases are big, you sell lots of them and you should have lots in display. Now what you want is a whole display of hard cases with a big sign on the top, $140. If you only have one on display, it basically says to the customer, this is a rare thing you sell, you don't sell many of them, it's not something you really want to worry about. If you've got 10 on display, this says, well, this is a regular selling item, I've got a whole heap of them, grab one of these when you buy your bow. Now this wall behind me here, so as you walk into the store, this wall is empty. To me, this is premium space. It's when you first walk in the store, this is what you see, and this wall's empty. To me, I'd want something on this wall. Now, I'm going to start off, this is the front door here, right? So here's your front door. So this is what you see. Now, I'm going to say this wall here, you see when you walk in, it gets a fair bit of light in the morning, and to me, like this wall here, I'm not selling much of it. Here's a picture of my aunt and my father. I'm not in love with this wall here. So yeah, I probably prefer to see recurve bows here. I'd prefer to see something else here, because I'm not seeing this is prime space and the wall doesn't run to the ceiling. See here? I prefer it running to the ceiling, so I've got a lot of display space. I'd probably like target bows there. Something colourful, traditional bows there. Stuff that just flags archery. Because see, I'm walking in the store, I'm not seeing all the traditional bows. I'm not seeing, what I'm seeing over here is a whole heap of blank space. So it's kind of suggesting to me this store's not stocked up. I want to know this store's stocked up. I want to know that I'm seeing everything here when I walk in. So I'm going to run over here to the, right, this is the arrow rack. I like the arrow rack, but I'm not seeing a lot of, well, I'm not seeing a lot of tags on here to say what type of arrows they are. So if you're working here, this is probably a bit tough. I'm a bit confused about the way they've laid out the shafts. They're probably going to hate me for doing this video. Lucky he doesn't watch the videos. So okay, so we got Victory VAP arrows, and they're Victory VAPs over 3 racks. Then there's Victory VAPs here. These are the sports. He's got them over the same sort of racks. Okay, so it's by spine. So he's gone 350, 400, 450, 500. So he's working down on spine, but I kind of want that written here. But then he's got V forces with the sports. He's got 3D HVs here. He's got the NVXs here. He's got the V force here, 400s, and he's got a V force there, so that should be there. He's put VAPs there. So I suppose what I'm missing here, and I'm getting confused, when I look at this rack, I want to know if I own this store or if I'm a customer, what shafts you're out of and what you should be stocking. So when I look here, I don't know what shafts he's out of. So let's just say what a big shaft seller is. The VAP is a big selling shaft. It sells to target archers, it sells to hunters. So you want them in the 300 that don't have any. I want 400s, 350s we've got. Where's the 350 target? Is over here. See, that was hidden. So I would prefer to see all the VAPs together like that, and probably see the gamers, the gamers, the sports, and the elites together, so I kind of know what I'm out of, because it's kind of spread over. Then there's some more VAPs over here. The Zilliums are a bit mixed. Gold tips over here. I'm just a bit confused with which ones we've sold and which ones I need to order more of. Now his computer system may handle this, may handle stocking these arrows, but I'm not sort of seeing it. So the Eastern Power Flight's a big selling shaft. So they're here. So we've got 60 400s, and we've got there's a few 340s, but we've got no 300s and no 500s. Now, is that what he expects? I don't know. But when it comes to these, the RIP 500s, I've got six of them. Now, 6 RIP 500s, you're never going to sell. You've got 7 350s, but you've only got 1 400. And then you've got some 700s down there. I'm just a little bit confused by it. So we're going to go to the Knox. Now we're going to go to arrows down here. You'll see no prices on any of it, so customers are not going to know how much they sell for. Now the RIPs, these ones are on special. I'm going to guess they're $130 a dozen. The V-Forces, we've got feathered and we've got normal. So these are the feathers, these are the normal veins. Now, there's a price difference between feathers and normal veins. They need to be displayed in clear. There needs to be a big thing there, traditional feathered arrows, because anyone who's looking for traditional feathered arrows, they need to go, well, this is them here. Maybe there's some others. Now these are your knocks and your accessories. I don't, it's probably good. Now broadheads are interesting to me. So this is where they chose to put the broadheads. You can't actually see the broadheads from the front of the store, which is interesting. So for me, broadheads are a huge seller. Huge seller. About 70% of customers who walk in your store are going to be hunters. It may be bigger in America, maybe less in Europe because there's no hunting, right? But broadheads are a huge seller, and we've put them on a wall we can't even see unless you walk around the back here. And it's kind of put out the way. Back when my dad had this store, I was like, they were on the front here. So we've got this space here. This is stabilizers. In premium position, we don't have broadheads. Like stabilizers, is someone going to say, well, this is a pretty stabilizer, we want to buy this? Not really. These could all be around the side because this is Target. How many Halocron stabilizers are you going to sell in your store? I can tell you how many I've sold in my store. I can count them. How many contours have we sold in our store? I can count how many contours I've sold in my store. So that sort of stuff should be in a lower profile position, where high profile items, the items you sell lots of, you want on display. Now we're going to go to this. This is kind of the major, I'm just going to move the camera back a bit. So this is the major wall here, right? Now back when my dad had this store, I'm just going to grab the picture again. I'm going to grab the picture. So this is the same wall. This is the same wall as here. Right? It's the same wall. Now, down here there was a counter. There was a counter running here with a big glass display counter with stuff inside it, which you can kind of see there. Now, the thing with this wall, this is busy. There's lots of stuff going on. There's lots of stuff to keep a person's eyes amused. With here, it looks empty. You can see up the top there, it's all empty. You can see up the top here, it was all full. You can see all down here, it's all empty. It's all empty. Now the stabilizers we saw down the back there was hunting stabilizers, there's Pse Stingers, there was dead center, and then we've got dead center, we've got some target stabilizers here, we've got some hunting stabilizers here. They need to be together, I think. Either you put the hunting stuff with the hunting stuff, target stuff with the target stuff, or you put all the stabilizers together, in my view. So here we've got some more target stabilizer stuff, but it's kind of mixed in with the release aids, so I'm kind of getting lost there. And then we've got the arrow rests down here, but once again there's a whole heap of white space. Needs to be filled in. So I think that's probably enough. I think I've done my voice and I've probably run this video way too long. Now I'm going to, up here, they put these target faces. Now a lot of people who own shops, and a lot of people said to me, you need to have target faces displayed. Okay, that's their view. My thing is a target face sells for $1 and a person will want 1 or 2. Yeah, look, I'm going to make 20 cents when I sell one. Like, yeah, maybe you have them displayed. Maybe it's because it looks like it's archery by putting a target face up. Maybe we don't make as much money on target faces. My philosophy is I want wall space, I want stuff on display, I want people to come in here. Coming into an archery shop should be coming into a toy store. This is a toy store for boys. And when I say boys, yes, there are girls who shoot, but 90% of your customers are generally boys, and they come in and they don't want to tell their partner that they're buying archery gear. That's just the way it is. And there are women who come in and they put down a whole bunch of money. right? I've got a couple, and I probably shouldn't say, but one's in the police force. And he's like, oh, he's really conservative with his money. His missus just like wants the best. And she's like, give me the best bow, give me the best sight, give me the best. And he's like, oh, I think we're spending too much. But that's very abnormal. She's just like, I want the best. I want to be the best. That's very abnormal. Most times it's guys coming in wanting a hunting bow. They want to have some cool stuff and they don't want to tell the wife about the stuff. This is a toy shop for boys and you've got to make it so they have fun when they're here. Have it so they come in here and they want to come back next week and buy some more stuff when they've done another, if they're a tradie and they've done a cash job, they've got some cash money, they want to come in and they buy a different broadhead, they want to buy something else. And that's why I want broadheads to be on the main wall, because broadheads are so big for hunters to try out different broadheads, to try out different arrows, to try out different bows, to try out traditional bows, to have the expensive bows. In fact, this store, when my dad ran it, there was a bow which was released by Hunter's Niche. It was called a limited edition. It was an anniversary bow. It sold for, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, $1,500. I think there was only 20 of them produced. Maybe there was 50 of them produced. I think this store sold 5 of them. It was huge. He literally popped them on the counter. So he had a counter like that. He popped them on the counter, put a sign tag on them to say limited edition, $1,500, little tag on it. That was it. Those things walked out the door, like literally walked out the door. Unbelievable. This shop sold, I'm going to say, more than any other shop in the world of those bows. People just came in, it was a once-off item. A lot of people never shot them. They just bought them because they look cool. And that's what this is about. It's about having a shop which looks cool. Now, if you're getting started in an archery shop, you don't need this much stuff, but the same principles apply. Put prices on stuff, make it easy for customers, get started and build up your stock. And if you've got a bigger display and you can't fill it because you don't have the money for all the stock for it, then maybe make it smaller, and you definitely want to fill it. I would have stuff hanging from the roof up here. I would have stuff hanging everywhere. I'd have bow quivers hanging from these racks. I would have stuff everywhere. In fact, my garage, when I first started and it was filled with archery gear, people used to say I was like the Aladdin's cave walking, because there was quivers hanging off the roof. There was bows everywhere, and you're walking through and it was like you couldn't walk because there was so much archery gear. It's a 4-car brick garage and it was just jam-packed with archery gear. So my last thing as I walk around here, bow cases. Bow cases are huge, they need to be displayed. He hasn't got the bow cases displayed in here with prices on. There's probably going to be other things, but make a list for yourself of stuff to work through, of stuff to improve your store so you can basically increase your sales to customers when they walk in your store. This store is probably seeing, I'm going to say 4 to 5 customers a day, but it's not converting those to sales. And I think it's some of these things that I've raised, which is why I'm not seeing the conversion. It was very rare for me in my store to have someone walk in and not convert a sale. In fact, I don't even have signs up in my store. So if you come to my store, there's not even a sign anywhere. They've had to find me. It's word of mouth. They come and find me. There's no signs in the front of the building. They walk in and they're like, is this an archery store? And then you open the door and they go, oh, wow. And the look on their face, it's like amazing. So this is a different store. The lighting's much better. It's a major road. It's got street frontage. So there should be more walk-in clients, but you've got to convert them to sales. And that's the key. So now on darts, the theory is they sell a lot of darts and it should be a high margin on darts. I'm not seeing it. And we'll kind of see how that goes longer term. So if you're thinking about adding darts or other stuff, just consider it. I'm out. I've been selling archery gear for ages. My thing on darts, I'm not certain whether it's the way to go. I think a lot of the dart sales are online, but we'll sort of see how it goes. Because once again, it's based on how much space it's taking to how much it's selling, how much profit you're making per square meter. There's no use adding square meters of stock if you're not making the sales from it. So I'm Stephen Hand, this is Archery Mart, not my store, my store's Archery Supplies. I hope it's been helpful for you for setting up your archery business and thinking about how you display stuff and how you set stuff out. And it's always good to go and check out other people's stores to see how they do it, see how they run their counters, see how they invoice. I've been to at least 80 stores in the US to check out. Every time I go to the US, I go to archery stores. I go to as many archery stores as I can. I want to see what makes them successful. I like talking to people to see what works for them. Now, what's big in America is hunting heads. People say you should have, deer heads on the wall. I make a choice not to have deer heads because in Australia, there is I'm going to say anti-hunting. I don't want to bring highlight to that. So if I had a deer head on the wall, I'm not selling the deer head. So I don't generally want it on display. Same with old bows. I could have a wall of all old bows and the history of archery on the wall, but I prefer stuff on sale. In fact, I used to have my old bows in my store and they sold them on me, so I'm like, I really wanted to keep that bow and they sold it. I didn't have a price on it. They just went, oh, it must be $300, and they sold it on me, and I was like, oh. So my view is basically I try and make the store as friendly as possible. I don't want to offend people as far as, put people off. I want archery to appear as a sport, whether it be hunting, 3D, target. I want it to appear as a sport. I don't want to go down the whole licensing thing with sport. I just want to make this, which is why I like having lots of target bows. So I don't have deer heads. Now, if I was in America, would I have deer heads? Yeah, if I was definitely in the hunting belts, I would definitely have deer heads. I would have lots of natural wood in my displays. I would have like the log cabin effects in the displays. I would have lots of hunting stuff, limited target stuff. I'd still do target stuff because I think target's important. If I was in the California belt, then I'd be more the target, kind of this more modern kind of looking. You may still do deer heads in California because there's still a huge hunting element in America. And it appeals to so many. I think hunting's not so frowned upon in America. So it's a bit of a mixed bag here. So I don't want to put people offside. So I want to get people into the sport, get them shooting and grow the sport. That's my thing. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you've got a business, if there's anything you want to hear about a business, about setting up, anything you want to know, questions. I get asked so many questions on emails about businesses, about how I get stock in, about how stuff sells. I was doing a whole thing yesterday from a dealer overseas. Drop them down. If it's a regular thing, I'll do a video on it. Thanks for watching. Bye.